YouTube. It's another episode of the Dunces podcast. Except today's a little different. It's just me today. So you guys can see my face today. So that kind of sucks for you guys. But as for me, it actually makes it a lot more simple, I guess, because now I'm able to just talk and I don't have to listen to Isandro's horrible takes or Johnny's breathtaking takes and Jeremy's. So anyway, today we wanted to talk about, I wanted to talk about a lot of things going on around the league. So for one, we have the MPJ situation. We also have the New York Knicks benching, or not even benching, just not playing Kemba Walker due to various reasons that we'll get into. The Lakers are the Lakers. The Nets are doing pretty well against really bad teams and really bad against really good teams. So that's a little scary. And then we also have the Luke Walton firing that happened a little over a week ago, I'd say, or maybe a little less, something like that. Something that was well overdue, if I'm being honest, because Luke Walton was not a good coach there. But then again, the Kings always fire good coaches. I mean, Mike Malone and Dave Yeager would tell you otherwise. But so, yeah, there's a lot going on in the NBA. And it seems like there's always something new, which is what the NBA is, right? Like at the end of the day, something always changes that somewhat is a drastic move to a certain team, but not the NBA as a whole. Because at this point now, we have two teams on a very big, long winning streak. If you think about it, you know, the Warriors have won who knows how many games in a row, and the Suns as well. So then these guys are actually playing tonight. This video is being recorded November 30th, a day that I should have gone to a concert, but that's for another day. So that's another big thing going on in the NBA. There was the whole video on First Take with Stephen A and JJ Redick talking about it. And JJ is really going off on Stephen A, if you notice, if you watched any of the First Take stuff. Also, I just want to say there's never a structure with the Dunces podcast. And now that I'm talking, there's going to be all over the place. So just bear with me. But for the whole JJ Redick and Stephen A Smith thing, what they were talking about was basically, is Devin Booker good enough to, propel this team to the next level? I mean, he proved it last season, didn't he? I mean, they went to the finals, him, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton. They fell short. They were up 2-0 and then, basically got swept, because the Bucks won 4 straight. So how good is Devin Booker really? I mean, how important is he to the team? Of course, he's very important, but how good can he be? Can he actually bring this team to a championship, or at least be a championship contender, which I do think they are. I think the Suns are a championship contender. Did I see this coming, though? A whole 15-game winning streak? Definitely not. But it is good to see that this team, with all the camaraderie that they do have, they just catapulted. Because last season they were kind of like, oh, like this little Cinderella story, a surprise team. Well, now there was a lot of pressure because they made it to the finals last season, and a lot of people didn't think they should have made it. I mean, let's be honest, they probably shouldn't have made it. If you think about it, they beat, what was it, the Nuggets, who were injured. Oh, the Lakers before that. The Lakers were injured. Then the Nuggets, and then the Clippers, who were injured. And then the Bucks, they were up 2-0 with an injured Giannis, and then Giannis just went off. And, so can the Suns really, prove to us that they weren't an anomaly? Yeah, is that the word? That they weren't a fluke last season, and that they can actually be a contending team this upcoming season. Because, I'm sorry, the Lakers are not a contender. My take from the beginning was it's completely looking like BS right now, because I had the Lakers to win it all, if I'm being honest, even over the Nets. This is back when the Nets, we were assuming that maybe Kyrie come back. It's a whole other discussion. But now with the Suns, can the Suns actually make a push? I believe they can. I think that the fact that they brought the same team back from last year to this year, they're all hungry, they're all really pissed, and Chris Paul's getting older. So Chris Paul he wants to win. And on top of all that, they're doing all this without giving DeAndre Ayton the extension that I believe he deserved. He definitely believes he deserves. But I guess the Suns organization didn't do it. And even on top of that, they have the whole Robert Sarver thing going on. Basically, the Suns are in the weirdest situation. They're doing so well. Robert Sarver is being questioned for a bunch of crap. And yet, no one is talking about them because the Warriors are this good. How good are the Warriors? We've had a lot of videos about them so far. Steph Curry's on a different level. He's the MVP of the league. No matter what happens, I think he will be the MVP, unless it's like a drastic drop off once Clay comes back. But it's not going to be like that. And even then, Clay and Wiseman are going to the G League. I mean, bro, like this season has been fun. And now, in today's game, we're gonna see the results tomorrow. This could be probably a stupid pick. I have the Warriors winning tonight, but it could be the Suns. I don't care enough about it. But that's pretty much on that side, right? But another thing I wanted to talk about was the Knicks. So Kendrick Perkins on not the Jump. What's that new show called? The Malika Andrews one, whatever it's called. This thing NBA Today. Boom, Jason, you're nice. So in that video or in that clip that they had, basically we see Kendrick Perkins saying, basically to Kemba and to Blake, because him and Richard Jefferson were talking about, once you get a certain point in your career, you're kind of just that guy that's out of the rotation. Kemba Walker's in that situation. Blake Griffin is in that situation. Deservedly so. Maybe Blake more so than Kemba. And Blake's not getting that much attention because we all kind of knew he was washed. I mean, Blake is not a good player at all. I mean, I see it firsthand. I'm a Nets fan, so I watch all their games. Blake Griffin is not good. And then we have this guy, Kemba. It's a feel-good story. You have Kemba Walker going back to his hometown in New York. The guy is loved in the Garden, right? But is he? Because he's averaging around 11 points. His, defense is not there, but that's not why they brought him in. They brought him in for offense. But I think people forget how stubborn Tom Thibodeau is defensively. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I'm not saying that he's a horrible person. I just say that he loves defense so much that the only player that's allowed to be a bad defensive player on his team is Derrick Rose. But the thing with Derrick Rose is that he hustles, like he tries. Kemba Walker, as much as he might seem to try, he's 6 feet, barely. He's skinny. He's like 190, a little less than 200, somewhere around there. He's just not a good defensive player. And that's what Tom Thibodeau, thrives in. That's what he wants his players to do. He just wants them to show effort. But Kemba Walker hasn't shown much effort. And it's not his fault. Richard Jefferson said it himself. Kemba Walker is walking on 1.5 knees. It's just non-existent for him at this point. So, Kendrick Perkins was saying, for these guys, embrace your role. Be there for the young guys. Be there for the team. Don't be a distraction. And I think Kemba and Blake are at that point of their careers where they just want to be happy, but also they want to win. Now, is Kemba going to win in New York? No, he's not. So maybe he should want to win, but because he's in New York, that's his hometown, his whole thing. He might as well just go to the G League. No, I'm kidding. But I don't think his stint is going to last much longer. He's just not a good coach, not a good player under Tom Thibodeau's system. As for Blake, though, yeah, he sucks. He sucks. But he gave us a free T-shirt when we went to the Nets game, so shout out Blake. But now I want to talk a little bit about the Michael Porter thing. I'm going to talk about it with the guys another day. But just the way I look at things, Michael Porter Jr. has had a very weird career thus far. He played in college. I believe it was Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. I'm probably mistaken. I really don't care. I'm a North Carolina fan. He played. He had back issues. But before that, in high school, being coached by Brandon Roy, I believe it was, Michael Porter Jr. was the #1 prospect. So in the draft that he went in, which was, I believe it was 2019. So I think that's the Zion draft. Is it the Zion draft? I don't know. I'm going to look it up in a second. But whatever the draft was, he was supposed to be the #1 pick. And he wasn't. So, you can't really fault him for that. It's the fact that, he had all those back issues. And back issues are a thing. You're 6'10". The way that you modeled your game was kind of like a Kevin Durant-esque, where, you grab the ball and it's not really athleticism. It's more so skill. but it also affects, because when you shoot with your entire body. I don't care what anybody says. It, your lower back is important for playing the sport of basketball. So Michael Porter Jr., that's why he fell so far down. He fell down to the, what was it, 13th pick, I think it was, 13th or 14th, whatever. And him falling so low, I mean, yes, it was a shock, but was it really a shock? I mean, the doctor said it. I mean, one bad move and his career's over with, right? So now, Jamal Murray goes down last season with the ACL injury and all that. And now Michael Porter Jr. steps up and he's balling. He averages a lot of points after Jamal goes down. Playoffs come around and he's okay. I mean, he's not doing anything, anything special, anything too crazy. He did exactly what he did in the bubble, which, normally would be good, but because we expected a leap, it was like, and then now starts the season fresh. Nothing, no issues. He's fine, and he sucks. Like he was just trash. And then, he had COVID, and then he comes back, and then he's even worse than when he was before. I don't even know how. And now he is stuck with this procedure where he's out for the rest of the season. Could this be a lingering effect for his entire career? How are the Nuggets going to handle the situation? Because they just paid him a lot. And so far, the non-guaranteed part of that contract is definitely not going to be guaranteed. So he's lost that money now. So, unless some crazy way he comes back and he gets all NBA, whatever. But I doubt it, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. I mean, the Kings. Oh yeah, my Kings take was so bad. I really thought that they were going to step up. I thought that they were going to be the playoffs of the Clippers. At least a plan, because the Clippers just suck. I hate the Clippers, but I love Paul George though. It's my guy. He's definitely a number one option for any team, and I think that always playing behind somebody, like that first year with Russ. But then the second year, it was me. It was like, oh, like like this guy's actually nice. And then playing alongside Kawhi. Kawhi takes horrible shots and stuff like that, but that's besides the point. And now there's no Kawhi; it's just him, and he's thriving in that role. Like he's balling. So that's fun. Oh, also John Morant, freaking sucked, man. He's out for at least 3 weeks, or at most, well, yeah, at least 3 weeks, because he's going to be reevaluated in 3 weeks. He was having an MVP type season. I don't care what anybody says. He was balling for the Grizzlies. Probably deserved big award. He's probably going to get it still. Most improved player and all that stuff. The Bulls are looking like fun. A lot of good storylines around the NBA. But these are just the ones I want to talk about. These are just my rant. I've always wanted to do something like this. Just talk and not be interrupted. So, yeah, that's the Dunces podcast for you today. Or is it really a podcast? I guess it's just a video. We're gonna title it Jay's Rants. Yeah, I remember that. When I edit this video, that's what I'm gonna put it. Jay's Rants. But yeah, that's how I feel about these certain situations. This will probably be the one and only time I do this. If not, then that just means that it either A, I really liked it, or B, there was a lot of love for it. So we'll see how that goes. This video will be posted. Does November have 31 days? I don't know. It'll be posted tomorrow, the day after the Warriors and Suns game. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm actually going to go watch that now. So it was a pleasure. Please like, subscribe, and hit that like button down below. Shout us out to all your friends. We're on all podcast stations, by the way. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, other stuff. And we're there for you, because that's what the Dunces is about. We're about unity, we're about love, we're about stupidity, and we're about making stupid videos for no reason, because we get no views. But it was a pleasure talking to myself today. Thank you all for joining. So please, again, like, subscribe, and hit that like button down below if you're on YouTube. And please, shout us out. That's all we ask. But it was a pleasure, and peace.